Good afternoon, dear students. Last class, we started discuss about how the business class people, the industrialists and the merchants, the traders in India, so how they were actually understood and how did they relate to the civil disobedience movement. All those things we learned. So especially the businessman such as Purushottam Das, Thakur Das, and G.D. Birla. So, they were all actually led this civil disobedience movement. So, and even they were formed Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress in 1920, and also the FCCI, that means Indian the Federation of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries in 1927. See, afterwards, the most of the businessmen, so they came to see Swaraj as a time when colonial restrictions on business would no longer exist and trade and industry would flourish without constraints. So the businessmen and the merchants, so they were believed like that. They were believed like that. So after that, means especially colonial restrictions on business would no longer exist and trade and industry would flourish without constraints. But after the failure of the Roundtable Conference, business groups they were no longer uniformly enthusiastic. They lost their spirit towards the civil disobedience movement. So they were apprehensive of the spread of militant activities, and even they were worried about prolonged disruption of a business and as well as of the growing influence of socialism amongst the younger members of the Congress. See, in this way, actually, so they were disappointed, the business class people. The industrial working classes did not participate in the civil disobedience movement in large numbers. It is also one remarkable point. The business class people, the industrialists. So, working people, not industrialists, the industrial working classes. So, they did not participate in the civil disobedience movement in large numbers, so except in the Nagpur region. As the industrialists came closer to the Congress, workers stayed aloof. Actually, the industrialists, the owner of the industries, so they were became close to the Congress, but the laborers, so they were actually stayed aloof. But in spite of that, some workers did participate in the civil disobedience movement also. So selectively adopting some of the ideas of the Gandhian program, like boycott of foreign goods, as part of their own movements against low wages and poor working conditions. So there were strikes by railway workers in 1930 and dock workers in 1932. So even there were strikes by railway workers in 1930 and dock workers in 1932. In 1930, thousands of workers in Chota Nagpur tin mines wore Gandhi caps, what we call the topi or the cap, and participated in protest rallies and boycott campaigns. But the Congress it was reluctant to include workers. They were not ready to Why? Because now the demands as parts of its program of struggle of the workers, I mean the laborers. It felt that this would alienate industrialists and divide the anti-imperial forces. Then another one important feature of the civil disobedience movement was the large scale participation of women. The large scale participation of women. See, during Gandhiji's salt march, thousands of women came out of their homes to listen to him, to listen Gandhi's words, Gandhi's speech, Gandhi's ideas. There were so many, thousands women, they were participating. See, they participated in protest marches, manufactured salt, and picked foreign cloth and liquor shops also. So many women during this time they went to jail. In urban areas, these women were from high caste families, especially in urban area. Those who were participated in these all activities, those who were listened to Mahatma Gandhiji. So they were most of the women from high. So the most of the women they were from high caste families. So especially in urban areas. So in urban areas, so many of women they were participated in this civil disobedience movement. They were came to listen Mahatma Gandhi. So they were all so high caste families. What about rural areas women? So even so there were so many women, those who are from rural areas, so they were all maximum from rich peasant households. Rich peasant households. So moved by Gandhiji's call, they began to see service to the nation as a sacred duty of the nation. See what a beautiful thing they were understood. So, according to women, and they were began to see the civil disobedience movements and then Gandhiji's call. So they believed like that, and they began to see like this service to the nation as a sacred duty of women. So, at this increased public role did not necessarily mean any radical change in the way the position of women was visualized. No. So, there was no the possibilities or any steps that means the radical changes in the way the position of women was visualized. Gandhiji was convinced that it was the duty of woman to look after home and heart. Home and heart. Not this heart, so heart. Understood now? So look after home and heart. So these two were the main duty of the woman. Gandhiji was convinced like that. What he was convinced? No. Mahatma Gandhiji was convinced that it was the duty of woman to look after home, to look after home and as well as her. Be good mothers, not only that, be good mothers and good wives. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ತಾಯಿ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು ಹಾಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು ಇದು ಅವರ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಧರ್ಮ ಅಥವಾ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕರ್ಮ ಅಥವಾ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಅಥವಾ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಎ be good mothers and be good wives. And for a long time, the Congress was reluctant to allow women to hold any position or authority within the organization. It was not interested. It was not ready to give any kind of position of authority within the organization to women. So it was keen only on their symbolic presence, that's all. So it was keen only on their symbolic presence, that's all. So dear students, in this way, the civil disobedience movement, it was actually influenced and all other different categories people such as the peasants, merchants, industrialists, traders, and even as well as industrialist laborers, and then the women, how they were reacted and then how they were taken part in this movement. Got it now? Now let us discuss about the limits of civil disobedience. Limits of limits of civil disobedience movement. What were the limits? Let us discuss about the limits of this movement. See, not all social groups were moved by the abstract concept of the Swaraj. That you have to keep in mind. Because the concept of Swaraj, it was understood by the different social groups. They were understood in a different way according to their needs, according to their requirement. Understood? So all social groups, so they were not moved by the abstract concept of the Swaraj. One such group that was, you all knows that, nations untouchables. Untouchables. So, we all of you knows that, and already we studied about the concept of untouchables, which we should not practice in the present day. So, at present, the practice of untouchability, it is completely prohibited in our country, and the Indian Constitution assured that the equal rights for those class people also. And now, if anybody, if the person, organization, association, or government itself, if they are practicing untouchability or if they are increasing means, that is going to be considered as a criminal offense. It should not be there. See, anyhow, dear students, so in Hindus, in Indian Hindu social structure, already we studied. So the society, it was based on the Varnashrama system. So here the untouchables, they were least in the society where they were not allowed anywhere. They were lagging behind economically, socially, and even politically, and as well as educationally. So they were completely suppressed class by the upper class, and the upper class people. So they were treated a very bad way, that we all of you knows that. Even I think so. Maybe this practice, it is there in our country somewhere, maybe in rural area, and in some of the areas still. Actually, in our country, we cannot even expect the social equality and the equal social status among the different caste and religious people. So here, this one of this group understood the untouchables, who from around the 1930s had began to call themselves Dalit or oppressed. Of course, they were used to call as Dalits also and oppressed also. ತುಳಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಜನಾಂಗ ಇದು ಭಾರತದಾದ್ಯಂತ. ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್, throughout the countryside. Understood now? See here, for long the Congress had ignored the Dalits. You may surprised after listening this sentence. Now because now since a few years back the Congress it was made this social group as their what we called vote bank. Getting now? So completely, but once in the beginning, the Congress completely ignored these people, the Dalit people. They were completely ignored by the Congress. ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ನಾವು ದಲಿತರ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬಟ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ದ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ಬಟ್ it is the situation also it is different. Understood now? So the present situation and during that situation it is so different. We cannot. But even though dear students want the present, they used to say, please keep it in your mind. I am not going to actually supporting any political party, or now I am not teaching on behalf of any political party also. Just the fact I would like to explain, that's all. Whichever it may be the different political party. Okay, then please don't feel like that. Sir, may supporting that political party, sir, may supporting this. No, not at all, dear students. So this is a classroom discussion as per our knowledge or whatever it may be the text content. You are all actually the matured one. You know that. You are all having your own thinking capacity. Then just you can imagine yourself. That's all. See, the Congress had ignored the Dalits for fear of offending the Sanatanis. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಸನಾತನಿಸ್ ಯಾರಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಭಯಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ದಲಿತರನ್ನ ಇಗ್ನೋರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ನೌ? ಸೊ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಭಯಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ದ ದಲಿತ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, the untouchables, those who are called as the oppressed class of people. So they were completely ignored by Mahatma Gandhiji. I'm sorry, not Mahatma Gandhiji. So Congress. So because of fear of offending the Sanatanis, the conservative, high caste Hindus, the traditionalist, but so Sanatanis actually they were traditional conservatives, high caste Hindus. Got it now? But Mahatma Gandhi declared that Swaraj would not come for 100 years of untouchability was not eliminated. Of course, that was the truth also. But Gandhiji was realized, he was understood that. So Swaraj would not come for 100 years. ಇನ್ನು 100 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ತನಕ ಹೋರಾಡಿದ್ರು, 1000 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ತನಕ, ಇನ್ನು 106 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ತನಕ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅನ್ಟಚಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ ಎಲಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ತೊಲಗಿಸದೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ಕಿತ್ತ ಹಾಕದೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸದೆ ಸೊ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಗಳಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಸತ್ಯ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅರಿವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Got it, dear students? So Gandhi's notion and Gandhi's view regarding these untouchables, it was a very clear. Gandhiji was believed that, and he was declared also. Mahatma Gandhiji was declared that Swaraj would not come for 100 years if untouchability was not eliminated. So Mahatma Gandhiji was called untouchables as Harijan. So Mahatma Gandhiji was called untouchables as Harijan. Understood now? That means Harijan means, according to Mahatma Gandhiji, the children of God. The children of God. Harijan means the children of God. See, Gandhiji was organized satyagraha to secure them entry into temples. Because we all of you knows that for these class people, since the beginning, they were completely kept away from all kinds of the sacrifices and then the religious rituals, and even they were not allowed to the upper caste, those who are lived the area. So, and even as well as they were not allowed to public places also, such as a pond, lake, even to get water also, even so they were not allowed to temple also. So for them there were no entries also. Of course, dear students, still this practice even till today we can see in our country in many regions. So this is all actually meant for, I mean, so untouchable, these people. So they were not allowed to enter. They were not allowed to perform any kind of religious rituals. Understood now? So the people, the upper class people, the higher class people in the society, so they believed and then they continued like that only. So that's what they were lagging behind economically, socially, educationally, politically, in so and so way. They were completely oppressed. So they were not allowed to access to public wealth also. Understood? And even tanks, even roads, and even the school. They were not allowed to learn also. Because we all of you knows that since beginning in our India, there we can see the Gurukula Ashrama system. In this Gurukula Ashrama system, the education is completely meant for only the upper class of the society. The lower class people, so they were not allowed to learn also. And of course, dear students, we all of you knows that the reality, the truth, even whatever Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was experienced in his life. So one example, understood? See, he himself cleaned toilets to dignify the work of Bangi. Those were called as the sweepers. ಸೊ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಬರೀ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತಗಳನ್ನ ತತ್ವಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳ. Just he was not declared, just he was not taught anything only through the words. Even he did practically also. So practical ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. That's we have to salute. So Gandhiji himself cleaned toilets to dignify the work of the Bangi. Of course, dear students, work it may differ, it may vary, but we have to give the same respect to, because all are required. See, from the President of India to the common worker, they are equal only. We should treat President of India and ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು 2 ಕೋಟಿ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳ. ಸೊ ಆ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಗೌರವ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾಮನ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ವೃತ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, IAS, IPS ಏನಾದರೂ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಕೂಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕನಿಗೂ ಸಹ ಆತನ ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಅದೇ ಸಮಾನತೆಯಿಂದ ಕಾಣಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಟು ಡೂ ದಿಸ್, ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ himself cleaned toilets to dignify the work of the Bangi, those were called as the sweepers, and persuaded upper caste to change their heart and give up the sin of untouchability. And even he was persuaded upper caste to change their heart and give up the sin of untouchability. But many Dalit leaders, they were keen on a different political solutions to the problems of this community. Many Dalit leaders, so they were keen on a different political solutions to the problems of the community. They began organizing themselves, demanding reserved seats in the educational institutions also, and a separate electorate that would choose Dalit members for legislative councils also, because they were believed like that. So they were began themselves, they were organized themselves, demanding a reservation or reserved seats in educational institutions, and a separate electorate that would choose Dalit members only for legislative councils. See, they believed that political empowerment, they believed political empowerment. So, ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸಮಾನತೆಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಹೊರದಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Of course, still we are practicing. Our Indian constitution provided for these class people the reservation, even in educational institution, even in a job. So many, even there are, we all of you knows that, so the reserved constituencies also at a different level of the governments, even in Gram Panchayat, Taluk Panchayat, but the reservation still not yet completely covered, but for MP election there is the reservation. Getting dear students, for some of the, then even there is a reservation for women also. So even in MP, MLA and the different levels at the government, such as even the local self-government also, the seats are reserved for SC, ST. Why? Because though, to bring them up, to uplift the respective class people politically, educationally, economically. So here, during this time, so the Dalit people, so they were began organizing themselves, demanding reserved seats in educational institutions and a separate electorate that would choose Dalit members for legislative councils. So they believed that political empowerment that would resolve the problems of their social disabilities. So the political empowerment would resolve the problems of their social disabilities. Dalit participation in the civil disobedience movement was therefore limited, dear students. The participation of the Dalit people in the civil disobedience movement, so it is actually limited, particularly in Maharashtra and Nagpur region, where their organizations was quite strong, especially in Maharashtra and Nagpur region, because there the Dalit organizations were quite strong in these regions. So that's what here the Dalit participation in the civil disobedience movement was limited. Understood now? Let us continue in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.